You are now in tune with
Mamba Radio.
What up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into Brown Mamba Radio. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jackson, and happy Tuesday to all you guys out there. Later on a Tuesday than expected. If you're listening to this on a Tuesday, what's up? But you might be listening to this on a Wednesday morning, so just keep that in mind as I go through everything today on this episode. But I'm going to take a look at what happened this past weekend, and hopefully you had a great weekend, and hopefully the start of your week is going just as well. Had myself a cool little weekend, I guess you could say. Starting the Friendsgivings are starting. Had a cool little one, like I said, this past weekend. And any of my friends out there, or anybody who wants to be friends, if you're looking for any friends to have for any of your future upcoming Friendsgivings, and the spread happens to be very, very delicious, my DMs, my inboxes, everything is always open for an invite. So just keep that in mind while you're getting the turkeys ready and all that. But I guess it's enough about me. Let's see what happened in the wild world of sports from this past weekend. Starting with the NFL, overall, a pretty weird weekend of football. A lot of the, there were, most of the time, for the most part, it was a weird weekend of football. A lot of the bad teams looked good. A lot of the good teams looked bad. There were a couple blowouts, obviously, on Thursday night, last Thursday night, with Pittsburgh over Carolina, and then New Orleans over the Cincinnati on Sunday. But for the most part, like I said, it was a little backwards here. Let's start with the home teams, of course. Chargers-Raiders wasn't one of those. It went exactly how you thought it was going to go. Chargers took care of business there. Where's the final score I had in front of me, damn it? 20-6. You know what I mean? Raiders still not scoring any touchdowns. But hey, listen, it's this Raiders season's pretty much donezo at this point. And this week might be their only chance at another win versus the Cardinals this upcoming Sunday. So hopefully the Raiders, have any little bit of pride left to want to get one more win, because like I said, this is probably their last chance, and to have arguably one of the worst records they've had in a long time. Not arguably, but they have worse records in a long time, and the depression is definitely going to be kicking in with that. But the Chargers, on the flip side, just got to keep winning these games, man. They just got to keep winning games. Because the Chiefs got another win this past weekend against the said Cardinals, and like I said, they're fighting for a wild card spot. Like I mentioned in the last episode. So if you want to hear how I think that the playoffs are going to shape up, listen to that one. Shameless plug. But yeah, Chargers just got to keep on grinding, and then they're probably going to get there just the way it's going. Like I said, their upcoming matchup this weekend, the Broncos at home again, at home against the Broncos, excuse me. And like I said, should be a win for them. Let me see the rest of their schedule. They got the Broncos, should be a win. Cardinals should be a win. Steelers in Pittsburgh might be tough after that. What else they got? I think then they play the Bengals at home. 50-50, but they probably should win that one. Then they got in week 15 in Kansas City against the Chiefs. That'll be a tough one on a Thursday night. Any Thursday night games are always a little wonky. Let's see. Then they play the Ravens at home, week 16, and then I think they finish things out against the Broncos for the last game of the season for them. So, like I said, that's a path for a wild card spot. There's a path for a wild card spot there, so I think they'll be all right. Like I said, as long as nothing catastrophic happens, Charger fans are going to be going to the playoffs again. And like I said, anytime you get into the playoffs, I say for everything, all you need is a chance. Anytime you can get in the playoffs, you got a chance. So it looks all right for the Chargers. Not so much for the Raiders, like I said. And then the other home team, the Rams, again, playing into the weird weekend of football thing, even though they pulled out the win, and the Chiefs as well, it didn't feel like a good win. You know what I mean? And of course, any win is a good win, but it just didn't feel like a good win. Rams beat the Seahawks, which is always good. The Seahawks always play them tough. But it just felt like they just got by. Not really. I mean, they did well. Offense looked good. The defense was playing much better, especially after the performance they gave up to the Saints last week or the weekend before. Excuse me. But it just didn't feel like a stamped win, like you felt like they should have they should have bounced back off after a loss like that at home against the divisional rival and all that. So, but like I said, a win's a win. Like I said, I wish it was a little bit more, a little more oomph to a little more decisive. But like I said, they'll take it. It's just like I said, it's not liking how the Rams are looking, the last few weeks. Just not as dominant as they've been at the start of the season. Maybe they're getting a little tired. The season's it's getting later in the season, and they felt like they maybe came out a little too hard in the paint in the beginning of the season. But I don't know. Like I said, hopefully, like I said, they can just play well enough to secure the wins the next couple weeks, secure their one of their top playoff seeds. I'm pretty sure they'll be the top seed in the NFC if the Saints don't, continue to just dominate everybody. Let's see who the Rams got going forward. Chiefs, again, it doesn't get any easier. They have the Chiefs on Monday night, which apparently isn't going to be in Mexico City anymore because of very large air quotes here. Unplayable conditions, I think is what they're calling it. They can call it unplayable conditions. I call it fucking bullshit. You've seen some of the fields that the NFL teams play on every week, and arguably those are very unplayable conditions. But hey, I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm sure it's just they don't want the hassle of going into Mexico City. Nothing against Mexico City. I know it's a beautiful place. I've been there a few times. But it's just gonna be tough. I'm sure the ticket sales weren't that great, and then plus all the turmoil, politically between the U.S. and Mexico, it's not that great. So like I said, maybe it's for the best condition or the best, condition, better judgment to not play in Mexico City. But hopefully we can, hopefully next year they can maybe do the Raiders Cowboys game in Mexico City. You know what I mean? Just really have a whole bunch of fools gone wild down there. So maybe they can do that. The better plan around it a little better for next time. But like I said, it doesn't get any easier for the Rams. They got the Chiefs next week on Monday night, so that's going to be the potential Super Bowl matchup. In my opinion, that's the Super Bowl I think we're going to get. Let's see what else the Rams got after that. I think they're going to be on a bye after that. Yeah, then they have their bye week, week 12. And then they're going to have to finish the season strong. Then they've got the Lions. Which again, should be a win. Bears, be a good matchup in Chicago. That'll be a really, really good game. Battle of the defenses. Great matchup between Bears defense, Rams offense. We'll see who gets it done. I think the Rams can win that one as well. And then it should be pretty much smooth sailing from then. Then they got the Eagles on Sunday night, week 15. Cardinals, week 16. And they finished the season out against the Niners, which again should be a win. Everything should, like I said, they should be smooth sailing at this point. From this point on, and like I said, they'll hopefully, if that's the case, they can start to rest some guys, get them healthy, get their bodies right for the playoffs. They can come out full swing and look like they did, or look like the team that they looked like at the beginning of the season. Gonna be a little harder for that to happen, considering that they just lost Cooper Kupp for the season. Huge loss for the Rams and their offense. Cooper Kupp, one of the breakout stars of last season, fantasy sleeper. I had him on my team last year. A great pickup, like I said, just a great fantasy player, but a great regular player as well. And like I said, a huge loss. I like the guy Reynolds. He's pretty good, but it's hard to replace what the Rams had with Kupp. You know what I mean? Just the way that he was that safety blanket for Jared Goff whenever you needed somebody going across the middle, or you just could, that sure-handed guy that you can rely on. And it's tough, man. Hopefully he gets back out on the field sooner rather than later. Like I said, just best of luck to Cooper Kupp going forward. But let's see. Let's take a look at the rest of the teams and how they did. Like I said, bad teams look good teams look bad. Big wins for the Browns, who just took care of business against the Falcons, which was, on the flip side, a bad loss for the Falcons. I'll go with the big wins first. Big wins for the Browns. Blowout win for the Bills against the Jets. Big win for the Bears in the division. And like I mentioned in the last episode, where I tried to make sense of the playoff rankings or how things would seed them or how things would work themselves out for the playoffs, and I had to make a specific category for the AFC South and the NFC East, and big wins for the teams there: the Colts and the Titans and the Skins and the Cowboys. Like I said, with those teams, I said that every win at this point counts, and every win and every game is so important for them, because the AFC South and NFC East are so evenly matched, and that's not a good thing, because everyone has a chance to win that division, and everybody has a chance to lose that division, because that's just how bad they are. That's it. They're just not good. They're not going to go anywhere, obviously, in the playoffs, but any four of those teams in the AFC South and the AFC East could be the first seed or the fourth seed, and it would not surprise anybody. So every win, counts. And like I said, big wins for the Colts and the Titans in the South. Big wins for the Skins and the Cowboys in the East. On the flip side, bad losses for the Jags. Jags, pretty much you can cross them off at this point, I think. I'd still use a pencil, but I'd still have that Sharpie on deck. As far as crossing them out goes. Eagles too, you can use a pencil at this point, but like I said, have that Sharpie on deck. Looks like they might be out of it. Bad loss for the Falcons, after a huge win and a huge comeback, or not comeback, but they just looked like the Falcons we thought that they'd look like on offense last week against the Skins. But like I said, came out and just laid an egg, no pun intended, considering that they're Falcons and birds. Laid an egg against the Browns, and the Browns just kicked their ass on Sunday. And then on the same thing with the Panthers and the Pats, like teams that I mentioned were probably not going to win anything, but also if they made a lot of noise and got deep in the playoffs, it also wouldn't be a surprise. And working to build some momentum to make their way up the up the ranks and have good playoff seeding. But like I said, two bad losses, for the Panthers and the Patriots, just really bad losses against teams that they arguably should have beaten. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it, really. Like I said, not much else to talk about here. But this coming week, pretty important weekend of football. Pretty important weekend. Lot of matchups with big implications. I got a lot of interdivisional rivalries, coming up. Where is it? I had it right here. Where is it? Week 11. Got a lot of interdivisional matchups between like Titans and Colts. Like I said, AFC South matchups, huge playoff implications for those teams. So like I said, Titans and Colts. Where else is there? Vikings, Bears. They're like I said, I mentioned with the NFC North, there's only 2 open playoff spots, and 3 of those teams are on the hunt. So 3 of them being the Vikings, the Bears, and I'm throwing the Packers in there, who also have a tough matchup this week themselves against the Seahawks, who, again, they need to win as well. They're coming off a loss against the Rams. They're fighting for playoff position as well. A lot of teams like that. You know what I mean? A lot of situations like that. We got Bengals, Ravens, AFC North implications. Eagles, Saints, trying to, hang in there. Eagles clawing and scratching to get a playoff spot. Texans going on the road into Washington. They got to see what they can do. Falcons, Cowboys, big games for them. Again, NFC East team. And the Falcons, they have the potential and they have the talent to do it on offense. But it's just, to make the playoffs and make some noise. But it's going to be tough. They just got to hang in there, and they got to, like I said, at this point, every game matters. for a lot of teams, especially this year, where it's pretty top heavy and bottom heavy, or or not heavy, I guess, but like, there's the 3 1-loss teams, and they're obviously good. They're going to be big chillin', and then there's the really bad teams that are just kind of very bad, and there's a lot more teams in the middle that are all in the hunt. And like I said, it's just, this is, at least from what I can remember, the most up in the air that the playoff picture has looked like in quite a while, where, like I said, every game matters. You know what I mean? Packers, Seahawks, those teams need to make it. Titans, Colts, those teams can make it. Steelers, Jaguars, they can make it. Cowboys, Falcons, they have a chance. They're have a chance to make it. Skins, Texans, they have a chance to make it. Vikings, Bears, they have a chance to make it. Chiefs, Rams, they could get a potential Super Bowl matchup. This is a very, very important weekend. We had a good weekend the week before. This past weekend, not saying it was bad, but it was just weird, like I keep saying. And like I said, this is probably one of the most important weeks of football, or weekends of football, probably the whole season. This right here, we'll have, after this weekend of football, we will have a much, much clearer picture, I think, as far as like who's in, who's out. Like I said, the last episode, if you want to listen to it, I talk about it, and I say, like, I have all these tiers. And then it's a little wishy-washy. A lot of teams can fall between different categories and different tiers. And I think after this weekend, it'll be a lot clearer on which teams belong in which tiers. So yeah, like I said, looking forward to this weekend of football. And then also, the last thing I got to talk about it, the Le'Veon Bell situation. Backfired? I don't know. Not quite yet. But because Le'Veon Bell did not return to the Steelers by this week, or by last week, or whatever you want to say it, he didn't return in time. And he now no longer can return to the Steelers, and he will officially become a free agent after the season. Tried to go all Jimmy Butler with the "you fucking need me" and sitting himself out, being a little bit of a diva and all that. Now, I've argued for the case of Le'Veon Bell, in Le'Veon Bell's favor, where he deserves to get paid. He deserves to make these choices because, like I said in the past, you can go back and listen to multiple episodes where I've mentioned this. The lifespan of an NFL player is so short, especially at running back. It's like 3 years tops. These teams have a history, a documented history of squeezing all the juice they can out of these young players on rookie deals where they don't get as much money as they deserve. They get them on a rookie deal. They outplay their contract, and the teams just let them go. And then now they have to learn a new system. They have to integrate themselves with a new team, with new chemistry, new culture, all that stuff. And they're obviously 3 or 4 years older, more injury prone. Again, the lifespan is 3 to 4 years. May have a good year or two, and then something happens where, for whatever reason, they get injured, the career just falls off. Like I said, they're in their mid-20s, and it kind of thing happens, and they bring the next guy who's cheaper, kind of thing, and they force him out. A lot of factors that go into it. And on top of that, the NFL, a lot of their contracts are not guaranteed. Their benefits and stuff are not guaranteed. Their health care is not guaranteed, and all that stuff, which is another systemic issue with the NFL. So Le'Veon Bell is just looking out for himself because he knows that the NFL is not going to look out for him. And he knows the Steelers aren't going to look out for him. So that's why I'm all for him doing what he's doing. He's just trying to preserve himself. And going into this free agent season, or going into free agency, he wants to be healthy. He wants to be, available. Like I said, Bill Belichick, it's still, in my opinion, the best sports quote, or one of the best sports quotes. The best ability a player can have is availability. Because you can be as talented as you want, you can be as skilled as you want, you can fill out all the immeasurables. You can be the right height, the size, your 40 time can be great. Your combine numbers look great. You put up all these numbers all over the place, this and that. But if you cannot produce on the field, no one's gonna want you. And like I said, time and time again, we've seen it happen before. We've seen it, and especially with running backs. Like I said, especially with running backs. I never, ever, 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 ever thought And I thought that if someone was going to break the mold, it would be Adrian Peterson. But Father Time is undefeated, and it got even Adrian Peterson, and now he's doing okay in Washington. But like I said, just someone who was so dominant for so long, you just felt like, wow, this guy's going to break the mold. And, you know, he didn't, you know, and it eventually gets everybody. So, like I said, Le'Veon Bell's looking out for himself. And like I said, he tried to go all Jimmy Butler with the "you fucking need me," but Steelers just said, thank you, next. They just thank you next to his ass. And like I said, Le'Veon Bell's decision to sit out and stuff and play it safe, you know, and hopefully get a deal somewhere else from somebody else. And someone's going to give him money. You know, someone's going to throw a good amount of money at him. There's a lot of struggling teams out there that would love to have a running back like him. I guarantee you the Raiders would love to have a running back like Le'Veon Bell. You know, like I said, a handful of teams, a ton of teams would love to have a player like Le'Veon Bell on their team, and especially that he's healthy and stuff. So there's that. But his decision is like, this is the ultimate 2020 hindsight situation where every criticism and everything or whatever about it will be based on, you know, what team he signs with, the deal, the size of the deal he gets, the kind of contract he gets, what kind of production he has with the team that he signs with, whether it's the Steelers, probably not going to be with the Steelers, but wherever he goes, and like etc. All kinds of different things. So like I said, this is the ultimate 2020 hindsight decision or situation, whatever you want to call it, you know. Because like I said, it's just the fact that no one's saying that, oh, he fucked up already, this and that. A lot of people are just, you know, kind of slamming him because it backfired because he thought that the Steelers were going to pay him, but now it just looks like someone else is going to pay him. Like I said, ultimately he's going to get paid, which is what he wanted, and he's going to stay healthy. If you can't get hurt if you don't play. So that's ultimately what he wanted, you know. So like I said, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Le'Veon Bell. And I talked about that for a little bit longer than I wanted to. But would it be a Brown Mamba episode of Brown Mamba Radio if I didn't ramble on about something for too long? So let's move on from the fake sports to the real sports to the fake sports with fantasy football. Family League took an L, but it's okay. I'm still in the playoff hunt. Like I said, it'll be fine. Taking on my cousin Patrick. You're going down, sucker. I don't give a shit if you got Homecoming King. You're going down. So there's, like I said, it took an L, but it's fine. Big win for your boy in the Fantasy League with my friends. Because I said last week that I thought I was out, but it turns out that I still have a chance to make the playoffs, and I'm actually tied for 6th place. I forgot that I still had it set for the top 8 teams. We're making the playoffs, even though there's 10 of us, because there were so many people that dropped out. They were supposed to have 12 players, but a bunch of people dropped out, and I still got a chance. I still got a chance, and like I said before, and I'm gonna say it again, man. No, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. But I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. All you need to do is get into the playoffs, and you got yourself a chance. So, like I said, hopefully everybody can stay healthy. Hopefully the moves I make pay off for me, and like I said, I need to. As long as I'm in the playoffs for both, I'm good. I got a chance to make my money back, and then some. Then moving from football to basketball, another W for your boy. Sorry, Sean, I had to do it to you. You know I had to do it to you, but you know, I got off to a pretty rocky start to the season, like pretty poor. I was like second to last for the first couple weeks, but working my way up the ranks, working my way up. You know, a lot more guys are starting to show up, play better. Made some trades, not going to say what and stuff like that, but so far they've paid off for me, and I thank my players for that, and I thank my friend for making those trades. But like I said, hopefully they all pay out. Still got to make some moves. I kind of like where my team's at right now. I know I had to adjust it a little bit, but I kind of like where it's at. I still want to make some moves, but I just got to find out which one is the right move to make before I do it. So yeah, going from the fake basketball back to the real basketball. the basket isn't the NBA great? Isn't the NBA just the greatest right now? So much stuff going on right now. So much like big stuff going on in the NBA. Obviously, the biggest thing everyone was talking about over the weekend, the Jimmy Butler trade. So Jimmy Butler finally got traded. The opposite of the Le'Veon Bell situation, I guess, where, Jimmy Butler was just acting all crazy, being very hostile, very volatile, and doing all these crazy interviews and talking all kinds of crazy shit and all this stuff. Eventually he got what he wanted. He was, for those of you who don't know, you live under a rock, Jimmy Butler has been traded to the Philadelphia 76ers, along with Justin Patton, who is apparently a player. I didn't even know who that guy was, but traded to them for Justin Patton, and traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Wolves get back Robert Covington, Dario Saric, Jared Bayless, and a 2022 second-round pick. This is a big trade. A lot of reasons. Philly, I know it's been beaten. This point has been beaten to death, but this is the official end of the process. We all know it. It's the official end of the process. Sixers are going all in right now. They like I said, they just know they feel like they have a chance, and they got to strike while the iron's hot. And who better to go after than Jimmy Butler? I mean, sure, they lose a little bit of depth, and they're bringing on a guy who he's been on. This will be his third team, and twice now he's left two different franchises just on the worst of terms. He essentially handicapped and crippled the Bulls. He may have yet to be seen with the Timberwolves, but he handicapped and crippled Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins' confidence and self-esteem. That's for fucking sure. And like I said, they're taking it all on. But at the same time, they know what they're getting themselves into, and they feel that he's worth the risk. They traded away two guys who did a lot for the team, did a lot for the Sixers, in Covington and Saric, but in getting Jimmy Butler back, they essentially get an upgraded version of Saric and Covington combined in one. They get the outside shooting and perimeter defense that Covington more so on the defensive side, but that both Covington and Saric brought. And on top of that, they get an effective offensive playmaker who can, create his own shot. And, when Ben Simmons can't, obviously Ben Simmons, as great as he is, even though he hasn't been as good as he's been in the past, or, as good as people thought he would be going into the season based on what he did last season. As good as he is, he's not a give me the ball, get out of my way, I'm about to score kind of guy. Maybe if it's getting to the rim, but that's about it. Like as far as like putting the ball in the hoop, Jimmy Butler can do it in a multitude of ways. And like I said, they didn't have a guy like that. Sarge kind of, but like I said, definitely Jimmy Butler can do it. And I think, honestly, it seems like he should complement Simmons and Embiid very well. You know what I mean? Simmons is the guy with the ball who's going to, essentially run the offense, make the plays, or run the offense and set everyone up to make the plays. Embiid is obviously the big presence down low. And he can clean up the glass, obviously do the dirty work down low and all that. Jimmy Butler's the guy who's going to be running off screens, catching and shooting. And again, like I said before, the playmaker that they didn't really have, or if they need a bucket, you can give it to him, he can get a bucket. I'm interested to see how the Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid pick and roll is going to look like. I'm interested to see what the Ben Simmons Jimmy Butler pick and pop, pick and roll might look like. There's a lot of things that, they should complement this. They have the best kind of big threes in the league or in history. You've had a good guard, one really good guard, one really good forward or swingman, and one really good big man. And that's getting Jimmy Butler. They've done that. And they're putting the East on watch right now. Like I said, they feel like they see the light. They see that window, and they know it's not going to be there for long. Like I said, if there's a chance to make it out of the East, it's this year. They got that little taste of it last season, but they knew they had to do something to get better. And like I said, they're just trying to strike while the iron's hot, and they feel it is burning hot right now. And like I said, I think it's a great move for them. The only question, the biggest question from this, not the only, the biggest question from this is, will he re-sign? No matter what happens, I don't think he will, even if they win the championship, which they probably won't. It's probably going to be the Warriors. I've said that before. I'll say it again. I don't think he's going to re-sign in Philly. Unless, like I said, they just give him so much money or so much other stuff on top of that he can't say no. But still think this is a good pickup for them. Good move by the Sixers. But there's another team in this trade. There's always two teams each trade. And, Minnesota is doing a lot of math here with this one. Mainly addition by subtraction. Obviously, like I mentioned, Jimmy Butler was pretty hostile and volatile during his short tenure with the Timberwolves. It's very well documented. You can go look at all of them. I'm not going to go through all of it here. It's too much to go through. So a lot of addition by subtraction with that one, but also a lot of addition by addition. They've added by getting Saric and Covington and maybe Bayless. I don't know if they're going to release him or whatever they're going to do with him, but Saric and Covington are good role players. And they can kind of replace what Jimmy Butler brought. Saric, good. He can be the off the bench kind of other playmaker to go with Derrick Rose, or he can just be another off the bench scoring option, playmaker option against a team's second unit. Covington, they can probably slot him into the starting rotation. He can be their new starting three swingman, whatever you want to consider him. 3-point shooting, a little bit of defense. Like I said, if Jimmy Butler is an A, Covington is a legit B, like B- at the worst level of Jimmy Butler. So like I said, they're not completely out of the water yet, but it's a good move for them. Like I said, for a lot of reasons, the addition by subtraction, and then just getting, adding some depth. But it still seems like there's bigger problems that need to be addressed in Minnesota. Obviously with Tibbs, is he on his way out? It seems like it. His job is secured. He is very much so on the hot seat. And he obviously felt that this was the best deal. Apparently, there were a couple other deals. I think they said they were in talks with New Orleans about potentially, a deal that involved Mirotic. They tried to do the thing with the Heat, but apparently that fell through because they didn't want to give up Josh Richardson. There was the deal with the Rockets, apparently 4 first-rounders that they didn't want. And so, like I said, the Tibbs, it seems like he's very much so on the hot seat, and he's trying to save his job as well because, even if it doesn't work out in Minnesota, he still wants to show that like he's still competent and can make things and still make good decisions. And the other thing is what the issue is with Karl-Anthony Towns and his regression this whole season as a player, and his lack of interest in stepping up and being a leader. And there's no excuses for him now. The air quote the problem in Jimmy Butler is gone now, and there's no excuses for him now. So there's nothing he can do. He has to go out and ball out now, or else there's going to be more of this, and it's more of what's more criticism of his game and why he hasn't been as dominant as he should, or he arguably should be. He had so much hype the last couple seasons, or for the last, since he came into the league. This guy's the next Tim Duncan. He's the next this, the next that, and the next future of the league, and this and that. But for whatever reason, hasn't fully unlocked that potential yet. So, like I said, there's no excuses for him now. He's got to go out there and hoop. Andrew Wiggins has got to go out there and hoop as well. And these guys just got to prove it. Like I said, there's no excuses for him now. And so I think the first Jimmy Butler game is tonight or tomorrow against the Magic. I think on Wednesday against the Magic. So all eyes will be on that game for freaking sure. But that's not all the spiciness that's been going on in the league. There's also the Carmelo situation where I'm sure everybody knows by now. Everyone's reporting it. Mark Stein, Woj, Shams, everybody. And they're all rumors at this point, but rumors that Melo isn't coming back to the Rockets. He didn't travel with the team, I think, is what the whole thing reported is. He said he's got an illness or something, and he's not traveling with the team on their little road trip or something. Daryl Morey's come out and denied this, but like I said, all signs are pointing to it being, or having, there is some truth to this. I've talked about Melo so much, and I don't want to really full on go into it, but he's become so polarizing, a figure, because because of the stuff he's done recently, and all the "what have you done for me lately" stuff with Melo. Now, I get all the people who are coming to his side and trying to defend him and stuff. People are trying to blame or trying to say that they're just using him as a scapegoat, and he's not the only problem. And I get that, and I get that these guys are, that it's a brotherhood, and these players, former and current players, are trying to defend him, and stuff like that. But I say to them, I've been tweeting it all to everybody who's been saying it. Like, if that's the case, then when the Rockets release Melo, because that's probably what's going to happen, petition and really make a case to your GM and your coaches and your front office to sign him. If that's the case, if you think he's still got it and stuff like that, then do it. I think Evan Turner said it, Dwayne Wade said it. A lot of other players saying it, and I've been tweeting all of them saying, okay, if that's the case, when they release him, we better hear about you petitioning to sign Melo to your team, since he's so such a still a valuable asset. So hopefully they keep that same energy. But like I said, I know that Melo isn't the Rockets' only problem. They have a lot of other issues there, but he is the most glaring problem. And all the criticism that he's been getting recently, he deserves. First of all, he's clearly not the player he used to be on the court. That is very obvious. If you look at his stats right now, they look okay. Like, if you just look at his just pure stat line, if you were just going Basketball Reference or whatever, and just pull up his 2018-19 season summary. I've got it right in front of me. 10 games, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 40% shooting, 32 from 3, 68% free throw, a 49% true shooting percentage, or effective is what they call it on Basketball Reference, but true shooting percentage. 11.5 PER, when the average is 15. Like I said, just very, very, very average, below average, right? But you dig a little deeper, and his stats are just not good. Like, all you have to do is just go to the game log. There's only been 10 games that he's played, Only 10 games. And they are not good. Plus, minus, he's minus 22, minus 17, minus 17, minus 5, minus 18. Had a plus 23 against the Lakers, but that was in just a weird game with the Lakers. But other than that, his overall numbers were not great. You know, a lot of really bad shooting percentage nights. 30%, 16%, 30%, less than 10%. You know, and so like I said, he's just not getting it done on the court. That's very obvious, and it's just not passing the eye test at all. And on top of that, you pair him not doing well on the court with all the questionable decisions and all the moves he's made off the court since his time in New York. Strong-arming his way into making them trade for him in the first place when all he had to do was wait. They didn't have to trade anything, and they gutted the team for him. When he had one great season there, and that's it. Choosing money first, you know, could have signed with a better team, chose to take the money when he knew that the Knicks weren't going anywhere, which is fine. It's fine. If you want to take the money, that's fine. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. Where if you want to praise him for taking the money and staying there, you know, that's fine. But you can't also say, when clearly it's a business decision that he's making. He's not making a basketball decision. He's making a business decision. And then he tries to make a basketball decision because it's better for business, because he knows he's not going to make as much money in New York because they're not going to give him as much money. And the way the cap situation works is better for him to leave and go somewhere else to make more money. Went to OKC and was a disaster. It was a disaster there. And just killed OKC last year. He's killing Houston now. And on top of that, his attitude isn't great. He's not willing to come off the bench. And when, even though he's clearly a detriment to the team at this point. And, you know, it's just sad, man. It's just really, really sad because I've talked about it before, and I'm going to say it again here. I used to love Melo's game so much. Go back and watch Melo when he was on the Nuggets. Even if you want to go look at some of his stuff in the Knicks, what was the one, like 2012, 2013, whatever on the Knicks was good. But just watch his time when he was on the Nuggets. Melo was so freaking good. As Kobe described him, he was a bull, man. Just a bull. And go watch those matchups between Melo and Kobe. Those are good. Those are so good because Melo was such a good player. And it's just Father Time is undefeated. That's, I guess, the theme of this episode today. Father Time is undefeated, and it gets the best of us. But, like I said, Melo deserves all the criticism he's getting. And I don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't know. I'm pretty, like, all signs are pointing to him not being on the Rockets anymore. You know, Daryl Morey went for it and swung and missed. It happens sometimes, you know? It happens. He had to go get somebody. You know, Trevor Ariza left. You know, a couple other guys left, and they had to do something. And they thought Daryl Morey just swung it. Like I said, sometimes you win some, you dim some. You win some, you lose some. So, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen with Melo. More than likely, he's going to be gone. He's not going to be on the Rockets sooner rather than later. And I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know. I really don't know if any team is willing to sign him. I really don't. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that on their team. Like I said, it'd be one thing if he was, you know, kind of had a bad attitude, but he was still putting up numbers. Teams can deal with that. We've seen it all the time. But once the players who have bad attitudes historically no longer produce on the field, that's when it's like, all right, it's just not worth it anymore. Now, like I said, I've said it before. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where he's going to go. But he had better not fucking come to the Lakers. They had better not sign him. That's all I got to fucking say. We have enough problems as it is, as I'm about to get to in a little bit. We got enough problems on defense. We got enough problems with outside shooting. We already have enough lineup issues. You know, that's what I guess I'll just talk about the Lakers now. Transition. You know, a lot of people are criticizing the Lakers, you know, for not playing certain guys. And yes, Lonzo does need to play more. I am all on board with that. Maybe not play Ingram as much, limit his minutes, which change things up a bit. Not give KCP so many minutes. I know that they've pulled his minutes back a little bit more, which is good. Great addition with Tyson Chandler. He's been great. They're 3-0 since he's been on the team, and he has immediately had an impact on this team in the spots that they needed it on defense, big man, down low, all that stuff. He's had a huge, huge impact. But, a lot of people are upset about these lineups, and listen, I'm being patient with it. I said it in the last episode, I believe, or the last couple of ones or whatever. I was talking about the Lakers. Everyone needs to just chill with it, and because Luke is just trying to figure out what lineups work and don't work. You can't just go out there and just play the same thing over and over again. Like I said, this team there's too much going on with this team. There's too many personalities, too many different playing styles, too many different things going on, and this is the time to get it done. He's just trying to figure out, who plays well with who doesn't play well with who plays, like who LeBron likes to play, like what, they're just trying to figure things out here. They have to, in order to, like I said, in order to find out if you like something, you got to try it. You know what I mean? How do you know that you don't like pizza or whatever, if you don't try it? And I'm making a really weird, bad analogy or something, but you get what I mean. You know what I mean? How we're not going to know we have this amazing player in LeBron who's done incredible things, taken these shittiest Cavs teams to the finals. And this team is way, 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 way more talented than those Cavs teams. But we have to figure out who he plays well with most, because obviously the LeBron hero ball didn't work. Didn't work. He only won one ring that way. And even then, it wasn't even hero ball, because he had Kevin Love when he was healthy, good. Kyrie healthy and good. And like I said, that was enough to get it done. So like I said, everyone just needs to be patient, and please do not bring Melo into this, because now that's another headache we have to worry about integrating into the system and getting minutes. And those are just problems that we don't need right now. Huge problems that we do not need right now. But and on top of that, like I said, still need to work on defense. Melo will not help that at all, and help closing out games. We just got to figure out how to close out these fucking games, man. So many there's like the Mavs game, the Hawks game. Yes, they were wins, but fuck, man, we didn't feel good after those ones. Did not feel good after those. So, still lots to work on. But like I said, everyone just needs to be patient, and we're just trying to figure out what works and doesn't work. All right, like I said, that's the only way to get it done, and you have to get it done now. So, go with you got to take the punches as they take it in stride, and everyone's got to be patient. That's it. And the little transition into the last thing I want to talk about, Clippers still just impressing the shit out of everybody. Beat up on the Bucks after the Bucks smacked on the Warriors, and then just after that they beat the Warriors last night they just beat the Warriors, and they took them to overtime. And beat the Warriors. And I don't know how long this can last. I keep saying it, and I'll keep saying it. But I don't know how long it's going to last, but, Doc Rivers and Jerry West got these boys really, really, really coached up. Like I said before in the last episode, this is probably the ugliest roster, one of the ugliest rosters in the league, and they are just going out there and just beating really good basketball teams. Like I said, they beat the Bucks, who are arguably the best team in the East right now, and they just beat the reigning champion Warriors, who are just destroying the league for the first 2.5 weeks. So like I said, hopefully they can sustain it. It's going to be good. I'm definitely going to be trying to catch more Clipper games for damn show. Might have to get me a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander jersey too, because that boy is pretty good. Like I said, he's not very fantasy good, but he's IRL good. And he looks like he's going to be pretty good for them for a little while. It's just going to suck when the Steve Ballmer moves the Clippers to Seattle. But like I said, just transitioning to the last thing, speaking of the Clippers and losing or them beating the Warriors, as hot as the Warriors were and as fun as they were in the beginning, and they were America's team and all that stuff at the beginning of the season, it's trouble in paradise again, because all stemming from that last possession of the Warriors' loss to the Clippers in overtime last night. After the missed shot where Draymond gets the rebound and just ignores everybody, tries to make a play, go into the basket before the clock runs out, but then dribbles it off his foot or whatever happens. I think actually SGA tipped it a little bit. Draymond loses the dribble, kicks it off his foot, time runs out, they lose without even getting a shot off because Draymond was just acting a fool, just going a thou wow, acting all crazy. And KD was just yelling for the ball the whole time, wanted it, got in Draymond's face about it after, and KD and Draymond were going at it again. And KD obviously mad at Draymond for that shitty possession, throwing it away. But then it comes out, they're just jawing, you think they're just jawing about the possession. Then it comes out that apparently in all that, KD was obviously yelling at Draymond for the possession. They were yelling at each other on the bench, and it continued into the locker room, and apparently Draymond was bringing up KD's pre-agency and the fact that how he might leave and stuff like that. And it's like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? Klay Thompson had to step in and be peacemaker. Boogie had to step in and be the peacemaker. And it's like, where the hell did this shit come from, right? And people are trying to Zapruder film, the altercation. I've seen some things today where someone says that they can make out KD saying, that's why I'm going to leave, or something like along those lines. And then that's the thing where it's like, that's why I'm out of here, or something like that. And then it plays into the thing where people are saying Draymond bringing up KD's pre-agency and the fact that he's probably going to leave after this season, or he'll leave eventually and stuff like that. But big thing is now Draymond actually got suspended by the team tonight, or for tonight's game against the Hawks. And again, now it's very, very polarizing with the situation, because you got people on one side who are saying this is why there's been so much turmoil with this team, and alluding back to, I tweeted the video of it at the end of, after the Warriors won the finals last year. David West gave a little post-game interview and just talked about stuff, and he mentioned, he just slipped it in there where he's like, man, if y'all knew about all the tension and the turmoil going on between this team behind the scenes, man, he's like, y'all would trip. And it's like, he just kind of snuck that in there, and it's kind of like, dude, that's kind of crazy. And what's crazy is there was always, like little ramblings and murmurs and nothing serious or nothing, is set in stone or nothing sure enough to be published or anything like that. That there's some inside turmoil in the locker room and stuff like that behind the scenes with the Warriors, but nothing set in stone. There was obviously the Draymond yelling situation in the locker room and all that, and then there was them arguing on the court and all that, and so that's a little scary. There's that, but then again, back to the two sides of it. There's two sides of this where people are saying that this is why there's so much turmoil, is because the players who were, essentially the original core of the Warriors was Steph, Klay, Draymond. You could even say Iguodala. You can throw some of the other guys there, the guys that have been there. They're saying that or the rumor is, or whatever, is that they feel like the team is babying KD too much with this kind of stuff. And he's like the new guy, but they're sticking up for the new guy and not for their own. They're the homegrown guys like Draymond. Even though essentially Draymond's the one at the center of all of it a lot of the times. But they're babying KD in these situations, and suspending Draymond, seems like they're favoring KD in this situation. Which it does look like that, yes, but on the flip side also, Draymond and KD isn't the first person that Draymond's gone after. He's yelled at other players, he's yelled at coaches. It's just part of who he is. And so there's the other camp saying, listen, Draymond, this shit's got to stop, because it's what makes him great. That fire he always has makes him the competitor that he needs to be in order to help make this team great. But it's your greatest assets are also your biggest flaws, and I've said that time and time again. That same energy that he always has all the time is what gets him in these situations like this, and it's very, very, it can be very, very volatile, very, very hostile, and he just, it eventually it wears on people, and so now it looks like it's getting serious now. Like it's like, okay, people are gonna really. I feel like people kind of were keeping an eye on it from what they had heard about the stuff last season, but because the Warriors came out and played so well at the beginning of this season, people were willing to kind of, all right, maybe they got it figured out, and they recessed it for a little bit. But now with this coming, this happening, all eyes are going to be on the Warriors now, and every little thing is going to come out, and everything is going to be under a microscope. Where now it's like, all right, shit might go down, especially with all the rumors that KD might be leaving, finding his next chapter. It's gonna be, like I said, it feels like that honeymoon phase is over with the Warriors again. So hopefully they're ready, and yeah, man, basketball, baby, basketball really just doesn't stop, and it's just, like I said, we've only played 10 for the most part. There's only been like 10, 12 games, and it's already all this craziness going on. So man, I love basketball. To quote the great Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, Panda's friend. Man, I love basketball. And then let's see, anything else? What are my notes? Quick baseball stuff. Dodgers. Hyunjin Ryu has accepted his offer. I remember last couple episodes ago I mentioned that they made a qualifying offer to Hyunjin Ryu and Grandal on whether or not they would like to stay. Ryu has accepted the offer. Grandal has turned it down. Now, I don't know if that means he's going to... That does mean that he is a free agent. That doesn't mean he's going to leave. Although some Dodger fans would like for that to happen. Doesn't mean he's going to leave. It just means that he doesn't want the offer that they gave him. He might be looking for something more. He might get it. Who knows? It was just an offer. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Grandal. But again, Hyunjin Ryu accepted the offer, who pitched very, very well for the Dodgers. A long time coming for him. He started very well in his career with the Dodgers. Had a lot of different nagging injuries. I think it was like a hip or a leg thing at first, and then it became into a shoulder thing. But once he came back, he was very, very, very important for the Dodgers this past season, and hopefully he can continue that success going forward. And glad to have him back. And last thing, sticking with baseball, NL and AL Rookie of the Year have been announced. Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves has been announced the NL Rookie of the Year, and Shohei Ohtani-san from the Angels has been announced as the AL Rookie of the Year. So good on them. Congrats to those guys. And then I also saw that the Manager of the Year, I got it right here, Brian Snitker, Manager of the Braves. Pretty obvious choice there. NL Manager of the Year. And the A's Manager of the Year, Bob Melvin, wins a AL Manager of the Year, doing great things for the A's in the second half of the season. Even though that they fell short in the wild card round, just a huge turnaround for them in the second half of the season. And I personally thought it should have been Alex Cora, considering that they won. They were the best team in baseball all year, and they just won the fucking World Series. But hey, what do I know? I don't vote on that stuff. But congrats to all those guys for winning those. And last thing, very, very sad. Stan Lee, co-creator, co-founder, and big poster boy for Marvel Comics, passed away yesterday. Very, very sad. Brought so much joy and stuff to so many people. With a lot of the characters that he helped create, and he will be missed. We'll miss seeing his cameos. We'll miss hearing his voice. Well, they'll still probably hear his voice in almost everything they do, but it's just sad, very, very sad. But Excelsior, Stan Lee, and like I said, even though he may be gone, his legacy will live on forever with all his characters. All his comics are still doing well. Obviously, the Marvel movies are doing very, very, very well. And, it's very sad, but also just a big thanks to Stan Lee for so many for inspiring so many people with all of his characters. So just wanted to say that as well. Couldn't end it without doing that. Being a big Spider-Man fan myself. And that's going to do it for me today. Like always, thank you guys for listening. Even though it ended on a grim note, thank you guys for listening. I've always appreciated it. Thank you so much. And like always, if you like what you heard, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts or whatever that you listen to. SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, all that stuff. Like I said, I'm working on getting on other platforms like Art19, Podbean, all that other stuff, wherever you listen to them. Like I said, even if you just search Brown Mamba Radio, you'll find me. Also follow along on all the socials, Brown Mamba Radio, Brown Mamba, or more personal stuff, JXCKSXNNN. I'm on the Gram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, all that good stuff. And like always, of course, everything is available at brownmamba.us. And yeah, that's going to do it for me today. Not sure if I'll be back on Friday. Maybe not. I got a busy weekend. So I will try to fit it in. But if not, I will see you guys next week. And don't just have a good week. Make it a good week. Make sure to drink more water. Health is wealth. Be kind to each other. It's easy to be nice. And please do whatever you can to help out everyone who's been affected by these fires down here in Southern California. Whether it's donating food, water, resources, money, donations, anything you can for the victims who have lost things, the first responders and firefighters and stuff that are out there trying to contain this as much as they can. Any way you can, just try and help. So that would be great. And that's going to be it. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.